Over the next 3 weeks, I am bringing back a 3-part manifestation series that I originally shared last summer. We are once again moving towards what many consider to be the most potent manifestation portal of the year, the Lionsgate portal on the 8th of August. And this felt like the perfect time to revisit these teachings. Manifestation is never about one single practice. It is a series of energetic shifts, perspectives, and practices that build upon one another, helping us to become more aligned with what we desire and more available to receive it. And the work does not begin on the 8th of August. We do not want to wait until the portal itself to suddenly start setting intentions and trying to call things in. This is the time to begin preparing, priming your energy, and becoming as aligned as possible before we reach that peak. This was one of the most popular miniseries I shared last year, and having revisited it myself, I was reminded just how much depth there is within these 3 episodes. They offer such a powerful reminder of where to focus our attention during this abundant period, while taking you through the manifestation process in far greater detail than I could ever cover in just one episode. So whether you are a newer listener, discovering the series for the first time, or you joined me for it last summer, I invite you to listen again as the person you are today. Different teachings may stand out, different parts may land more deeply, and you may recognize something that you were not ready to see before. These 3 episodes will also lead us towards my in-person Lionsgate Portal Manifestation Ceremony, a deeply sacred and immersive 3-hour experience where I will guide you through a profound journey of energetic alignment, manifestation, and transformation. I'll be sharing more details about the ceremony at the end of today's episode, including how you can book your place, so stay with me right through to the end. For now, settle in, open yourself to what you most need to hear, and let us begin. Welcome to Higher Self Mastery, the podcast for women ready to leave behind who they were told to be and remember who they truly are. I'm your host, Dami Schumacher. This is your space to come home to yourself, to honor the inner pull for more truth and more depth, and more meaning as you enter a new chapter of your life. Together, we're reframing midlife crisis into the midlife magic that it actually is, because this is your rebirth. Through soulful conversations and spiritual tools, you'll reconnect to your truth and reclaim your voice and live the life that your soul came here for. So let's begin. We are going to be diving into part 2 of the mini manifestation series, which began, of course, last week with part 1. So if you haven't listened to that already, please do go back and take a listen, because we are doing a mini 3-part manifestation series, which is in honor of and to make the most out of this gorgeous cosmic gift that we are receiving at the moment, known as the Lionsgate portal. For those of you who haven't quite caught up on part 1, a quick recap. The Lionsgate portal is a planetary alignment that takes place once a year. So our sun aligns with the star called Sirius, which is also known as the cosmic sun, and we're also entering into the Leo season. So when all of those 3 things come together, this is a window, a gateway, a portal that opens up where we are so connected. Like there's this really close, direct link between each and every one of us and source, where we can communicate, we can get clear on things, and also call things in, i.e. manifest things, right? So that's why we're doing this mini series now, so that you can really learn what this is, what energies are at play at the moment, and how you can use them. Because at the end of the day, life flows with greater ease when we understand these energies around us, including our invisible energies that govern us, our universal principles, but also those other ones, those bigger ones at play as well. Because
when you know what's happening, you can flow with it, like going moving downstream a river as opposed to trying to swim upstream, right? Which, if you have no awareness around it, that's often what we can end up doing. And that's when it gets really gritty and hard and challenging and exhausting and all of that stuff. And we don't want that as much as possible, right? So we want to be moving through life with flow and grace as much as we can. So last week, we started to energetically prime ourselves to get ready for this phase. And to do that, we talked about the law of circulation, how the key is to begin to give, giving in many different ways. And it's the giving that then begins this reciprocal circular energy flow where we then are able to receive as well. And we also talked about the importance of gratitude, because abundance, which is basically we're all trying to manifest some kind of abundance, greater abundance, right? In different areas of our life in different ways, however that actually tangibly looks. But it's greater abundance of something. And abundance shares the same frequency as gratitude. So again, gratitude really is a form of giving. You're giving thanks. And we want to bring our energy to this frequency, rise it up. So then we are primed and energetically in a position to call in what we want and also be open then to receive. Today, I am going to talk a little bit about how you and I are already manifestors. Each and every one of us are already manifestors, right? Whether you believe in this or not. And I'm also mostly going to today share with you some of my top tips, 3 or 4 tips. I've got a lot more, and there is a free PDF that you are able to sign up for and download if you're interested in this. And I'll share more information on that at the end of the episode. So please do stay tuned. So, without further ado, let's get into the content of today. So I mentioned that you and I are already manifestors. Now, when you hear that, if this is a new concept to you, one of the first things that perhaps comes to your mind is, hang on a second, Dami, if I'm already a manifestor, then how come I don't have X, Y, and Z? And how come I've got all this other stuff that coming up in my life that I don't want, I don't like, is causing me grievance? I hear you. The thing is, we are co-creators of our reality. Now, I just want to scratch the surface with this and give you just a basic understanding of how this works, because this is a huge topic in itself and deserves a whole episode, if not multiple episodes, just on this topic. And I absolutely will cover it further down the line. But we co-create our reality alongside Source, the universe, God. So if we are not seeing things that we desire in our life, or if we are seeing things that we do not desire in our lives, it's not because we're not good at manifesting. It's not because we don't know how to manifest. It's that we are vibrating at a frequency that is calling in the things that actually we don't want, or we are blocked in areas to allow the things that we do want to come in to us. Now, more on that on episode 3 or part 3 of this mini manifestation series, where we're going to talk a lot more about blocks and limitations and our inability to receive. But the first thing I want you to take away from today's episode is that we do not manifest things. We manifest frequencies. We manifest at an energetic level. So because this is such subtle work, it may not be obvious to you. And you may say, but I really, really do want this, Dami. Let's think of an example. let's think of a tangible example, right? I really, really want to manifest a second car because one car at the moment as a family just is too much of a stretch. This is constant compromising and waiting, toing and fro. It's putting a lot of pressure on the family in order to help everybody get around. I want to be able to drop the kids to the clubs, do the shopping, go to my yoga class, go to swimming, my art class, go out and meet my girlfriends. But then my husband's at work and he works strange hours, something like that, right? So you want to manifest this car. But if inside you, and you can logically say and come up with all the reasons why that absolutely is what you want, and you believe it and you want it with full conviction, and every part of your thinking brain is on board for this manifestation to come through. However, if at a frequency level there are any blockages, if there is anything, again, just these are just examples, where deep down in your subconscious belief systems, you are actually operating. You, on the one hand, you're saying you want this car, but on the other hand, you're panicking and pushing it away because then you're thinking, how on earth are we going to afford two insurances? How on earth are we going to afford the extra cost and the running of two cars? Because cars are expensive, let's be honest, right? Or they're not. It's not a small investment; it's a big investment. Try not to use the word expensive, or I'm learning not to. Um, and maybe you don't believe that you deserve it. Maybe environmentally, you actually just don't agree with it. Maybe you don't want to be doing those runs here, there, and everywhere and being the chauffeur for your kids. And you kind of have just succumbed and said, all right, well, I guess I have to. I'm the person who has to do it. But actually, deep down inside, you really don't want to do it. And that's okay. No judgment, right? All of these things are vibrating at a frequency which is working against the frequency of the manifestation that you're trying to call in. Because on the one hand, you're saying, I really want it. It's going to help me. It's going to solve all my problems or solve certain problems and make my life easier. And then on the other hand, you're saying, it's going to cost more money. Where's this money going to come from? I actually really don't want to be the taxi driver for the family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And then there's this conflict in the frequency, in the energy. They're not aligned. And when they're not aligned, the messages you're giving out to the universe and putting out there when you're sitting there or meditating on it or however you choose to do your manifesting, right? Or maybe you haven't got any methods and tools yet, and that's okay. I'm going to share some with you today. However you do that, you're sending out really, really mixed messages to the universe. And then the universe is getting all sorts of confused messages through the form of these frequencies and vibrations. And it's just like, doesn't really know what you want. Remember, we call it in as a magnet. It's a like for like energy. That's what we're aiming for. We need to become a vibrational match. The law of attraction. Most of you should have heard of the law of attraction, I'm pretty sure. And if you haven't, in essence, it basically works like a magnet. Whatever you are vibrating and your frequency is what you are then calling in, right? You become a magnetic vibrational match. But there is a law that supersedes the law of attraction, and that is the law of vibration, which is what I'm talking about, because everything is frequency, everything is energy, everything, the language of the universe is vibration and frequency. So in order to bring something into you, you have to be vibrating at this frequency. But it's not enough to be vibrating at this frequency for 3 minutes of your 24 hours. If for them the rest of the 23 hours and 57 minutes. Is my maths correct? I don't know. I think so. For the rest of the 23 and 57 minutes of the day, you are then vibrating at lack and limitation or fear or doubt or any other opposing frequency, which actually just isn't the magnetic like for like attraction frequency, which is what you really need to be. So, what we're really trying to do with this, as we began the work last week, by raising our vibrational frequency to the vibration of gratitude and abundance, it's a high frequency that opens up our portal, that opens up the gate to help things come in more. So we're just basically opening up the doors a bit more, making more room for things to flow to us. And the more we can stay in that higher frequency of trust and gratitude and feeling abundant, like, gosh, I've got a lot. I've got so much in my life already that I am so grateful for. I've got my health, I've got my family, I've got a home, I've got one vehicle. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. Because there was a time in my life I didn't have those things. And these very things were my dreams. And when we can look at life and shift our perspective to be aware of how much abundance we are surrounded by, and we all have a different level of abundance, but the point is, if you're tuning in, it's quite likely that you have got enough abundance to look around and be grateful for. Granted, on some days, some phases of our life, it can feel more challenging to see those things, the things that we are abundant in. But I promise you, it's always there. If you have full use of your sight right now, have you stopped to be grateful for the abundance of sight that you have? If you're listening to this podcast, have you stopped to be grateful for your ability to hear, the technology that you're using to tune in to me today? The fact that you woke up this morning and have another day to live, another gift, because it is a gift. You see how simple it can be? It doesn't have to be extraordinary things. But we are surrounded by abundance all the time. And when we become an energetic match, that is what we then begin to co-create and bring in. So we are constantly manifesting all the time. If you are not calling in what you desire, it could be a number of things. One could be that you're not vibrating at the frequency to match it. You're not a magnetic match for what it is you want, or for not long enough. The 3 minutes, 5 minutes a day is not enough when then you're opposed by the opposite for the rest of that day. Or there could be some blocks. And if you're manifesting and seeing things in your life that you don't want, that are really unwanted situations, again, these are born of your own co-creation, because somewhere, whether you know it or you don't know it, on a subconscious level, most likely in your belief systems, you have a fear or you have a belief that these are the things that are going to inevitably happen to you, because maybe you saw them playing out in your childhood or in your parents' lives or in your environment. And so you, without realizing it, unknowingly, you end up actually magnetizing the very things that you don't want. So this exercise, this series, this mini manifestation series is really about teaching you and helping you to learn to prime yourself to become the right vibrational frequency for what you want, to do it with conscious awareness, to become the designer of your life, so that you can then have a say in what is created in your life and what manifests, rather than just moving through life blindly and creating through your subconscious beliefs and patterns. And in a moment, I'm going to move into some of the actual practical tips. I've got many, many, many of these tips. I can't possibly share them all with you here. In fact, I can't possibly share everything that I know about manifestation, not even over these 3 episodes. It's just not enough time. But it is certainly enough to get you started. And even if you've been doing this work for a long time, I'm almost certain you'll hear something that you've forgotten, or hear it differently, or pick up a new tip or a tool that you just haven't tried yet. And I would love it if you do this as an experiment and then let me know in a month's time or a few weeks' time, however quickly these things move for you, right? Just depending on where you are and what phase of your life you are in right now, how quickly you'll start to see the results, as long as you do the work and put the reps in it, right? I would love to hear back from you to see which of these particular things you that really resonated, that were new for you, and that you implemented and have actually go on to have an actual impact. Because I want you in this phase, in this period of this year, this July, August, let this be your year where you push through your manifestation ceiling. Let's take it to the next level, wherever you are right now. There could not be a more powerful and potent time to do this work. So if you're listening, let that be your clue. Let that be your invitation to jump on board and do this work. Okay. So my first tip to you, and this is an optional one. Well, they're all optional, entire. Of course they are. You take or leave, what you want in all of this. But this is like an added extra tip. If you know your human design chart, then go and find out, if you don't already know, whether you are a specific manifester or a non-specific manifester. You don't have to have this information. You can still do all this work without it, but it's also information that is easily and readily available on the internet for free. If you don't know what human design is, it's basically the new version of astrology, um, where basically you feed in your birth chart, your time of birth, your place of birth, and all of that information, and it gives you your energetic blueprint. The lady that I love to follow, again, I'll drop it in the show notes, is Jenna Zoe. She also has a wonderful podcast, and she has a app as well, a membership app, which is so inexpensive, a great investment price, and you get a lot of value from that. So if you're interested, do take a look at that. But the reason I'm asking you to go and find this is because you, by birth, can either be a specific generator, sorry, specific manifester, or a non-specific manifester. And that simply means that some of us do well to get really, really clear on the details, whereas some of you do better to just hold the essence. Now, everybody just needs to hold the essence, because that's what we're really working with, is the energy, the feeling. And at the end of the day, no matter how wonderful your brains are, or no matter how wonderful your imagination is, our human brains are still limited. And what we think is what we want to call in, something that we really, really desire, only the universe knows what's truly in our highest good. And it might be looking back at you while you're calling something in and sort of saying, I hear you, Dami, but that's actually not the best thing for you. Instead, I'm going to give you something slightly different, but it holds the essence of what you're trying to call in, because really what you're trying to do is fulfill this particular need or meet this particular value. And let's do that in a slightly different way to the way you're calling in. So we all need to be holding that, right? So let that be your second tip. It's about the energy behind the manifestation that's most important, not the actual tangible thing. However, where it can be helpful to know if you're specific or non-specific is that if you are a non-specific and up until now you've been told to um, get really clear, crystal clear on what your dream future life looks like, and you're sitting there thinking, I just can't get clear on it. Like, I don't know. And you've been going out of your mind, please don't. Maybe it's likely that you're a non-specific manifestor, which is why you can't get really clear with a visual or a picture and know exactly what you want, because you're not supposed to. That's just not how you're wired. However, if you're like me and you are a specific manifester, I should have pulled it out actually. But many years ago, when I did this, when I began this work 5 years ago, I can write in so much detail what my dream home looks like that it was crystal clear in my mind that I drew it. I've drawn out the floor plans. I've drawn out basically pretty much architectural plans for my dream home, right? Which way it faces, whether it's north facing, whether it's east facing, and I can close my eyes and describe it to you in so much detail. It's ridiculous. I live there half the time in my head, right? And that is powerful and that works for me. So get to know which one you are. It could help the process for you, but it's a bonus thing, right? Now, I mentioned, just touched on there, and I said values. I don't know if you picked up on that. This is really important. You really need to ask yourself, why are you calling in what you're calling in? And I want you to either just do it in your head and as an internal mental exercise, or write it out. I like to write things. It helps me to process. So do it like a journal prompt if you like. Think of just one thing. And for this experiment, if you're going to come along and do this experiment with me during this phase for the next few months, pick one thing, right? And start small, but pick one thing, something that can feel achievable, or just is that next step, is just pushing that ceiling for you. So that's going to be different for everybody. Maybe it is that car that you want. Maybe it's a certain amount of revenue on a monthly basis in your work and your salary or in your business. Or it really could be something a bit smaller, like those shiny pair of red heels that you really like. Okay. So something small, or just whatever's just out of reach for you. Aim for that. Make it realistic and achievable. And when you think of that one thing, once you've decided what that thing is, I want you to do the why exercise. You probably have heard of this in many different um, contexts for different reasons, and it is super, super powerful. What does it give you? So let's take the red heels as an example. Actually, no. So let's take an example of something that I have put up in my manifestation. In my dream home, as I mentioned, it's crystal clear what it looks like. I have a swimming pool. It's a lane swimming pool. Now, that might seem like a pretty bog standard dream home wish list item to have a swimming pool in your back garden. It's a bit like saying, well, I want tennis courts in the back garden or something like that. Because at one point, and still today in certain societies, in certain groups, it's a status thing, right? However, for me, I've done the why test and I know it deep down inside of myself. It's not about status. If I wanted that swimming pool just so I can say to people, I've got a swimming pool in my back garden. Look how cool I am. Or it will make me feel worthy, or it makes me feel successful, or it's filling a gap of some kind and it's actually not aligned with my values, it's quite likely, and listen really carefully, it's quite likely that that thing won't manifest for you then. You need to know what your top values are, and the things that you call in really need to be in alignment with your values, because otherwise, no matter how much you try to fake it and push the situation and force the situation, you'll never truly be an aligned frequency match for it. You may even call it in if you're really good and have certain things in place, but the likelihood that you're able to hold on to it are then slim. You might just as quickly lose it. And you see that all the time. People become highly successful overnight and then they lose things, right? Because what they're calling in is actually not the real reason why you want it. Now, for me, the swimming pool doesn't represent status. It doesn't represent success or deservingness or anything like that. For me, one of my highest values is my health. And ever since I was a child, swimming has been my absolute favorite number one physical activity. I can stay in the pool for hours until I'm all wrinkly. I love it. I find it's incredibly peaceful. I get my physical workout. I feel a beautiful sense of achievement in my physical exercise, in my physical body. I feel like I've really gently conditioned it and looked after it. But also, there's such quiet time where you just swim. And I love doing lanes, just back and forth, back and forth. It's a little bit like walking, it's very meditative. So for me, it's incredibly peaceful. And if I could, my ideal scenario, my dream is to be able to swim every single day. Now, I do have a couple of swimming pools near me. And yes, it is a choice. Some of you might be saying, well, if you want to swim every day, Darmin, you can make it happen. Yes, I could. I could. That is true. But there would be a cost and a compromise that unfortunately then asks me to go against some of my other values, such as my family. Most likely, it will, if I want to go swimming every single day in my current setup, um, I probably would miss being here in the mornings to make my daughter's pack lunches and see her off to school. Or it would then eat into my work day at home, which means time away from building my business and doing this. That doesn't feel good either. Or I go in the evening and I compromise some of my sleep. Or again, because now my daughter's getting older, she's still awake, and I miss out on bedtimes, and I miss out on putting her to sleep and reading to her. Or most realistically, she won't go to bed and she'll still be awake when I come home. And so then I've deprived her of the rest that she needs, and myself as well then. So you can see that, yes, I could make it happen, but it really comes at a cost that I'm not willing to make. Once in a blue moon, I might go and do it. But it feels like a compromise to get this in for me. Whereas if I had my own pool in my own garden, I can just be swimming every single day. I would be swimming every single day. I don't want anything fancy. I don't want pool parties. I just want a 25-meter lane that I can just go up and down for half an hour or 45 minutes every single day. That's it. So, because that aligns with my values, it's so important to me. It ticks all the right boxes. So that manifestation is something that I can call in and will call in at the right time. So I want you to do that why test. Like, find out what is it that you're really gaining if you had that thing that you're trying to call in, whatever that is. And this is this tip number 3. I think it is tip number 3. So tip number 3, not everybody will want to do this, but if you haven't tried it, then I really urge you to give it a go. For the most part, the majority of us humans, that is, are have our sight and our vision as our primary sense. And if that is you, a vision board can be so powerful to use when you're manifesting. Now, vision boards have got a bit of a reputation. Some people love them and they work well. Some people hate them because they haven't worked well. A lot of people think they're just a lot of fluff and woo. I've been working with vision boards for quite a long time now, and I have over the years refined and refined and refined how I use them. And it's taken the consistency and taken the constant, the stickability, if you like, of sticking with the vision boards, but learning to use them properly. That has changed it from a fun little activity that I then put up on the wall to, and you can see I got one there and I got one there for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see. Um, that, oh, that one over there was my original vision board that I did 5 years ago. So that's like the big dream vision, the big stuff. And initially, I started to get a little bit disheartened because no matter how much I poured myself into it, put my energy into it, none of those things were manifesting in my life. And there are many, many, many tips around vision boards that I can share with you, but I can't possibly share them all today here. I do go into it in greater detail in the free manifestation guide PDF that is available for you. So if you want to learn a bit more about vision boards, I would highly recommend that you sign up and download that free guide. But where things really started to change for me is when I started to make things a little bit more believable. So this one here, that's the big vision board, like the where I want to be in 3 years' time, etc. This is stuff that I want to create and manifest this year, now, in the next few months. So they're much more achievable. They're still at the moment, many of them just out of my reach. But it's so much the the gap between where I am and where those things are is far less. And then you build that muscle, you train that muscle. And as you start to then manifest those more achievable things, you have more evidence, your own lived experience and evidence that I can do this. It does work. And then you can get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So that's one thing that I would say about vision boards. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. We are predominantly, most of us, visual beings, and so it's a really, really powerful way to help us to bring and pour energy into it, because that's what you need to do. There's no point having these vision boards, sticking them up, and they look pretty, and then you never even notice them and you never look at them again. That's why I don't really recommend the ones in books and stuff unless you're really good at getting that book out every single day. When I'm being good, and I'm only human, so I don't always do this consistently, but when I do practice this with consistency, I really, really notice. And so I'll try to build it into my morning routine where I will just it's almost a ceremonial, sacred ritual. I will spend a few minutes, maybe 3, 4 minutes, just looking at all the images on both of those boards, giving gratitude for the ones that have already come true, and putting in the trust and the faith into the divine and source, that the things that haven't come in yet are already mine, just waiting to be collected. The other thing this leads on to my final tip. I'm going to make it because I could sit here and give you tip after tip after tip after tip. This would be like a 90-minute episode. Is that you have to take aligned action, right? I mentioned this in one of the previous episodes when I had a little giggle at myself, where I would sit and meditate and manifest and ask for things and then wait for it to land on my lap, and then they never landed on my lap because I was lacking the masculine action taking part in my energy, right? So this is where I'm asking you then, once you know what you want and once you're clear, once you've done the why test and that what you're calling in is sincerely something that aligns with your values and that is good for you and will really nourish you, then you need to take some kind of action. So I'll give another example. On that board, you can't see it. It's behind the microphone, just there. There's a picture of a lady, and the reason it's just her face, and the reason I put that up there, she's got the most flawless, glassy, clear skin. She's got next to no makeup on. I mean, she probably has, but the way they've made it look is that she's got no makeup on. And the reason I put that up there, because at the time I was suffering and struggling with really bad perimenopausal acne all along my jawline. And having believed that I had passed my acne days in my 20s, my teens, it came about very suddenly, caught me off guard, didn't know what on earth it was. I didn't even know it was related to perimenopause at the time. I was caught off, so unaware. And yeah, I had such bad acne and nothing I did was helping, right? So during that time I was doing the vision board, so I put that up because that was something I really wanted for myself, for my own self confidence, to feel comfortable in my skin, because this was making me feel socially awkward and uncomfortable, just really self-conscious about myself. And I didn't feel good when I looked at myself in the mirror either. So it was really knocking me in many, many ways, in a negative way. And then for a long time, I didn't do anything about it, right? So this is that sort of, this is what I want. Please bring it to me. Just drop it on my lap. Thank you very much. Thank you for the delivery. And nothing like that happened. And my acne never went away. The aligned action that I then went on to take was I started investing in good quality, organic, natural skincare that was not going to affect my hormones, that was really going to tackle the problems and the symptoms that I was experiencing. And when I became religious about my skincare routine and really, really invested time, money, effort, energy, within 6 months or so, my skin started to clear up like you would not believe. And now, no, it's not perfect, but those of you, again, watching on YouTube, it's pretty darn good, right? And so a year later, I was able to sort of look at that image and go, tick, thank you. I manifested that. But it required me to do something about it. Now, you may say, well, that's not manifesting. You just went out and started using good skincare, Dami. And that's why now you then fixed the symptoms of your acne. Yes, you could look at it like that. But then how are we defining manifestation anyway? Manifesting is really just us wanting something. I wanted clear skin. That image on that vision board made it a constant daily reminder that that is something that's important to me. So what am I doing about it? That then made me take action towards making that happen. So all of this is energetic vibrational match to creating the results that I want. That's why I say we are co-creators. Manifestations don't just drop from the universe. They are not just gifts from the universe for a select few of people. It is something that we co-create. And at the same time, as hard as it might be to hear it, if you're not seeing what you like, you are also the co-creator of the results that you don't like. There is responsibility to take in that too. Benchmark that for another episode, right? It's another big topic in itself. But you see what I'm getting at? Aligned action is key. Please, please, please do remember that. I'm going to wrap this up now. Been going a little bit longer than I had wanted to, but I think it was really important. I knew from the beginning I'll just want to sit here and reel all my tips and all my experience off with you. I just possibly couldn't do that. So if this episode resonated for you, if you're really keen to jump on board and maximize this potent energy of the Lionsgate portal that we're experiencing right now, and you want a little bit of extra support and help to take this to the next level, to really push through your manifestation ceiling, then I highly, highly recommend just sign up. The link will be in the show notes for the free manifestation guide, which I would love for you to have, because I want you all to manifest the things that you want as much as possible. Okay, that's enough for Manifestations 101, I think, for this episode. Next week, please do tune in. It will be the conclusive part 3 of this mini manifestation series, where we are going to talk a lot more about some of the blocks that you might have in your subconscious beliefs and patterns, and that could be stopping you from receiving, and how we can start to look at unblocking and clearing that, so then you can begin to receive all that you want to receive. Remember, you are not manifesting things, you are manifesting frequency, and you are the co-creator of your life, of your reality. The beauty in that is that you have some control. It is empowering. You are at nobody's mercy. That's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, take care.
Before you go, I want to share something with those of you who feel called to continue this work with me in person. Sometimes manifestation isn't about learning another technique. It's about uncovering what your soul has been trying to show you all along. I'm calling in just 13 divine women to join me for an intimate Lionsgate portal manifestation ceremony. If you've been doing all the right things, reading the books, creating the vision boards, setting intentions, and repeating the affirmations, yet the manifestation that matters most still isn't landing, this may be the missing piece. This is not simply another workshop or class. It is a ceremonial space created for women who are ready to go deeper. Over 3 sacred hours, we'll journey together. You'll uncover what you truly desire at a soul level. We'll gently reveal what may be blocking your ability to receive it, and you'll leave with practical tools to activate the next chapter of your manifestation journey. Held within one of the most powerful manifestation windows of the year, this ceremony will help you to deepen your alignment, expand your capacity to receive, and quantum leap the results you've been creating so far. We'll complete our journey with a deeply restorative sound bath. This will allow everything you've uncovered to settle, integrate, and anchor within you. If your heart is whispering yes, you'll find all the details in today's show notes. I'd be honored to welcome you into the circle. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Higher Self Mastery. If something landed, moved you, or sparked a shift, I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with a woman in your life that is also ready to rise. And if you found value in today's conversation, please take a moment to rate and review this podcast, especially in these early days. It really helps others to find this work too. If you're craving deeper support and sisterhood, join my mailing list using the link below, where you'll be the first to receive free meditations, learn about up-and-coming retreats, and other ways that we can work together. Until next time, honor your truth and trust in the timing of your becoming.